Hey guys, so I recently made a poll on Patreon where I was asking you which color you wanted me to focus on. The options were green, yellow, blue, red. Yeah, those are the options. And it was a tie between red and yellow. So I already made a video that I posted on Patreon for the red drawing. I don't know if you follow my stories. I did post the outcome on there, but the video time lapse is on my Patreon account. When I was making the red drawing, I was using colors like browns and pinks. I even used a little bit of orange just to create like a little bit of like a, oh okay, that's weird, like there's like an orange area. No, when you're looking at the drawing, I don't think that you consciously think about like, oh, what like the artist was doing, you know, like, oh, how did the artist create this effect? But I hope that when I'm talking about it, it just kind of makes sense. Of course, it's like all subconscious, but there's definitely like logic to it. There's definitely like reasoning behind it. Especially the more I paint, I start to definitely notice like how different formulas of like if you use more of this color next to this color, it creates this effect. You know, you definitely learn as you go, and I will share with you guys. I'll definitely try to reflect on it, and so that I can actually verbalize it to you guys. But so yeah, I used some browns to create more of a contrast for the drawing. I also used some light pinks to create the highlights so it would pop out. So there was this three-dimensional quality to it. I'm going to put an image of that drawing right here. I'm gonna try, I'm testing my editing skills. But yeah, so as you can see, it is definitely a red drawing, and you wouldn't notice that there are other colors involved. I literally only used 2 red shades, and I was manipulating it, right? Like, so it was only 2 red pens that I used, but I would layer in the same color to create a deeper red at times. So technically, yes, I was only using a few markers, but like it looked like I used like this whole array of like different shades. I wanted to challenge myself to make a yellow one, and that's gonna be much more challenging, I think. I mean, yellow is a really light color, so if I add any shades of like blue or greens or orange or purple or whatever, like I feel like it could quickly become more dominating. So I'm gonna have to be really careful with that, and I've never done this before. I've never created a predominantly yellow painting. I mean, I guess, yeah, the thing is like, okay, so it's one thing to create like a mostly yellow one. It's another thing to kind of like create a yellow painting. Like cause like if you create mostly yellow one, I could basically just like do like 3/4 yellow and the rest green. But I think I wanna make the yellow the essence of the painting. So like capture that mood of yellow, you know what I mean? I bought these in China. They're not Chinese, they're definitely not. It was like imported, but they are, I'm pretty sure I paid more for it than it costs normally, because in China things are getting really expensive, and like anything that's imported just costs a lot more than it is. So maybe this is cheap somewhere else, but this was not cheap for me. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. What is like considered cheap when it comes to watercolors? But I have to say, these are amazing. They're super pigmented. They're like, I love them. But I also wanted to say, like, if you see how dirty this is, actually before filming this, I had to go and wash it, because the last session that I had, I did not wash it. And I wanted to share with you guys this, because one of the main reasons that I'm doing these videos is because whenever I was like looking at other artists do videos, they're just so freaking neat, and I don't understand how the hell they're so neat. I am not neat. I'm a complete mess. And you can look at the yellow colors here. Like, okay, I'm gonna get so much hate for this, because I know artists are like, oh my god, you have to keep like the colors perfect, and like, no, it's not. Like, yeah, I have like, I don't know, you can see other shades inside it. So this is not good. I'm not saying you should do this. I really don't think you should do it, because I do love when things are clean. It's amazing. Like, I love when I open a new packaging thing and I'm just like, whoa, this is like perfect. Also because when you're using these colors and there's already a color inside it, it's not gonna be the same color. I wanted to share that with you guys, that yes, I have really dirty, like messy palettes sometimes. And it's just how I am. My brain, I don't know, I don't always have the brain for cleaning things, so that's okay. That's okay. And probably, actually no, not probably, definitely, I've already become much neater as I've been painting more. But like with time, I will become neater and you know, you will see. But if you are a mess like me, don't feel bad. It doesn't mean it doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you. It just means you need probably more experience painting to realize the freaking benefit of having a clean palette. Let's see, you know, I'm gonna discover what I do as I go. I have no idea what I'm gonna do. I literally have no idea what I'm gonna do. I just know that I wanted this to be a challenge, and I know the mediums that I'm going to use, it's going to be different to the other drawing. The other drawing I was just using, yes, these markers like Tombow, oh my god, I feel like I've been talking about these pens like a lot in my social media, but these are freaking amazing. I just love that you can layer them. I'm not even like, I mean, I would love to be sponsored by them at some point, but I'm just doing this for you guys. I just want to share with you what I do. These are like water-based pens, which means they're super lightweight, so you can like layer and layer and layer, especially if you have like watercolor paper. Watercolor paper. Does that make sense? Yes, watercolor paper. That's what it's called. It's basically if you have like 100% cotton paper in front of you and you're using these, you can layer like 100 times and it's still not going to destroy the paper. These are the colors that I'm going to be using for today. Mostly yellows, as you can see. This one is actually darker than it actually looks. It's kind of like a brown. So I may or may not use this. You'll see, like I may or may not use all of these, but this is what I'm thinking at this very moment that I'll use. I was thinking of finally using these finger brush pens that I got a month ago from Pigment. It's like this high-end art store here in Japan. They have amazing traditional Japanese painting materials, and yeah, I mean their pigments are super sick, but it's on the pricier side. So I ended up just getting like these brushes, which I found so fun. Like you basically just put it on your fingers. And also I just want to kind of rave for a second about the Japanese packaging. Like it's insane. Like I wish there was packaging like this for all of my brushes, because sometimes you spend a lot of money on like good brushes and they just like, it's hard to maintain the brush tips unless you're super organized and neat, which as I mentioned, I'm not really. I mean, I'm working on it. I really am working on it. You know, I'll give like a review of that at the end. I did try it in the store, but I think today I'm gonna actually be using it for a dry, so it's gonna, yeah, I'm really excited about it. I am also going to be using these watercolor crayons, which are super fun. I kind of randomly bought this in New York back in the day, a year ago. And as you can see, the paper already ripped off because I was using them way too hard. This comes in a couple colors, but the only one I'm going to be using is this one. Maybe the brown. Let's see. Let's see. Okay, I'll take it out. I'll take it out. Why not? There we go. And yeah, like I said, this Van Gogh palette, and I believe that is it for right now. If I add any colors, I will let you guys know. Here's a close-up actually of the mess that I was talking about because it was hard to show. Yep, you see this? I'm not embarrassed at all. I also am using this brush that is like, I think I just found it with my crayon set. It came with something. I didn't specifically buy this. I normally work with oils, so my oil pens tend to be better, although I didn't bring any of my good oil pens here to Japan, but normally when I do work with oils, I'm a little bit picky about the brushes. But when it comes to watercolor, I don't have that much experience. I'm still kind of just figuring things out, so I'm just using a really basic pen. I do recommend to like have a pen that is versatile, so you can kind of use it for the like a large spread of color, but also you can use like for like thin lines. This is definitely not a thin brush. Like I wish that it was a little bit thinner, but it's fine. I'm gonna be using the Tombow pens for like the thin parts. As you can see, this is really like, it's very fine. So I'm going to first start out by deciding what I'm painting, which mostly happens without deciding. I just flow. Okay, I see a little bit of a shape in the paper, so I'm just gonna put that lines on there. just to enhance the shapes that I already see. So this part is mostly subconscious. I mean, sorry, not most, it's literally completely subconscious. It's actually kind of strange talking while I'm doing this, but I wanted to try to do that and see how that feels. As you can see, I'm just letting the pen glide. Like, I have no idea what's going on right now. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how it's happening. Yeah, I feel like this part is like really fun to share with you guys because it happens the quickest, and then when it comes to shading, I'm just gonna probably time lapse most of it. Honestly, like nothing is going on in my brain right now. And I'm pretty much just like forcing myself to like talk as I'm doing this. I would love to know what you guys think this looks like afterwards. Like what this makes you feel and stuff. Like I would love to know what you guys think. And if you're an artist, I am so curious if you also work from the same space as me, or if you plan things out. Like how do you create? I feel like we all have like our own relationships with art, you know. For me, it's always just like help me calm down. Ooh, I can see like a body forming now. What is that? I have no idea what is going on right now. No idea. Like maybe you guys know what is happening. I don't know. I don't know what is going on right now. I'm not even high. Like I feel like honestly like drawing kind of just brings me into this like weird high state. As you can see, I have decided to avoid foreground, middle ground, and background altogether. But who knows, maybe I decide to incorporate those elements as I paint and add the colors in. So I'm just going into the water and picking out one of these yellow shades and throwing it onto the paper. I'm not trying to control where this drawing is heading. I'm just, you know, like if there's a lot of light areas, I'm complementing it and adding some dark areas just to create more balance. This is just the first layer as well, so it's not perfect. Like a lot of the colors are bleeding into each other, and I actually mostly used the Van Gogh palette so far just to lay out the colors, and also I really miss this palette, so I just like wanted to play with it a little bit. I really have like a lot of nice yellows in this palette. It's kind of nice to be able to like use very similar shades but have a variation at the same time. So far this is all pretty much yellow that I'm using, although I'm thinking of using some light pink here, so I think it would really make the drawing more interesting and more beautiful. And I'm just in that kind of mood. Like I feel like I'm in like a yellow, light pink kind of mood. Alright, so you can see it's like super free flow. Honestly, I like how the colors are bleeding into each other and it's like nothing is perfect so far. I really like it. I don't use watercolors normally in my work, so this is not a watercolor tutorial. If anything, this is like, if this has to be a tutorial, which I don't really like that word right now to describe what I'm doing at this moment, I would call this like an art meditation tutorial. Because I'm not really, you know, I'm not controlling anything, and that's the whole point of meditating with art. Like, you don't know what you're gonna create, and you gotta just like trust that something's gonna come out of it. Also, a good practice is like to not judge what you're creating. to not like, no matter what you do, not to be like, oh, I don't like this. Because part of like meditation is to not like to be in complete acceptance of what is. And I really think that's important when you're making art as well. Artists are often their own harshest critics, and definitely that applies to me as well. When I treat my practice as a meditation, it really does alleviate some of that, because it's like promoting like a healthy mindset. It's promoting me to kind of relax, take things easy, not be judgmental, and it honestly bleeds into my attitude in life as well. And I think a lot of the attitudes that we have, towards ourselves is literally the exact attitudes that we will have for other people. Everybody's suffering, everyone is suffering. If you're suffering a lot, you're gonna be projecting your suffering upon others. And so if you notice that somebody's projecting their suffering onto you, you can either walk away, or you could try to stay light and maintain your own enthusiasm, your own brightness, and maybe you'll like affect them, because like this stuff is all contagious. Like I definitely noticed that just by practicing being present every single day, I do notice my environment changing, the people I hang out with changing. So yeah, I just keep dabbing into this like watercolor palette next to me. You can see, there are only like so many colors in there, so I pretty much am just like choosing whichever one feels right. The negatives of having dirty colors is that the color doesn't turn out as you want. Like I'm trying to pick out some whites right now and it just keeps giving me gray. That's just wonderful. But if white was not meant to be, it was not meant to be. Like, what can I say? Now I'm gonna bring in some pinks. Finally moving on to these finger brushes, super stoked. I'll be using one on each finger. I think this is going to be a good practice for my coordination as well. Since I have the bright colors down, I have the yellow, like the super bright yellow down, I'm going to right now just focus on darkening some of the areas and creating like a little bit more depth. So I'll be using some more browns. And she is done. I am so happy with how she turned out. definitely predominantly yellow with some heavy pinks, which was not planned for, but I like how it looks. Now that I'm looking at it, it kind of looks like a flamingo, which I dig. I'm really here for this. Well, you can tell that at the end I used some hot pinks and browns to create outlines for the figures for the pap. So you might be wondering why I'm wearing a different outfit with completely different eye makeup. I know, this is way cooler than yesterday. I freaking dig this. I love using like the electric blue eyeliner below my eyes. Anyways, so yeah, it's because my freaking phone died in the middle of recording yesterday, so I'm doing this part now. I really enjoyed doing the drawing yesterday. I really enjoyed filming most of it, trying different angles. And I'm so fresh and new to making videos, so I'm just learning as I go. It was also the first time that I was talking while painting, while drawing. I've never done that before, unless someone is hanging out with me and I'm just talking to them about some random things, like that has nothing to do with actually art. So yeah, this is all very new for me, and I want to know what you guys thought, what do you guys want to see more of, if you really enjoyed me talking while I was drawing, if it was interesting to you, what was interesting to you. Yeah, let's like keep this like an open dialogue thing. And this is also the first time I'm putting a video like this on YouTube. I have been putting more these kinds of videos on Patreon for people who want to support me a little bit extra, but also because I'm so new to doing these videos, I wanted to have a place to put my videos as I like grow, as I develop. So those, like, I already have quite a few on Patreon, and I will continue putting all my time lapses there, all my just, you know, to document my work there. And YouTube, I will only be posting occasional videos that I put a little bit more effort in. I also want to do like a quick review on the brush pen that I was using, like the finger brush pen. To be totally honest, it wasn't the best quality. I do think that they're fun, so I kind of recommend them and also don't recommend them at the same time. They're really, like, it starts to hurt as well if you use it for a really long time on your fingers, depending on how thin your fingers are. I don't think I have fat fingers, you know. I have like very normal average fingers, and it started to get real tight on my fingers. So that was a problem, but also the brushes, like the, wow, what's it called? Like the hairs on the brush, it's not real hairs, it's just like, it's made with some material. Plastic? It's probably plastic, yeah. So it was falling off as I was painting, which is not great. That's not something that you like if you're painting all the time. But however, because they're so unique, it's such a cool, fun concept, I do think it's worth looking into if you want to just play around and try different materials. I do recommend it. But yeah, without further ado, this was it. I mean, I hope you guys enjoyed the drawing, hope you guys enjoyed the talk, and let me know what you guys thought. Bye!